Hi guys, is this a case of client journalism, where you have members of the media speaking up on behalf of the government and not applying the rigours of their profession? What am I talking about? Well, Nick Ferrari, who in this clip didn't explain, he received a call from who I first thought was a Tory party activist, but I later discovered was a journalist who writes for The Telegraph and The Spectator, that are both pro-Tory outlets. Here she seems to attempt to mischaracterise strike action taken in the future by NHS staff. Why would she do that? Have a listen and let me know.
I think this is very difficult, and I do think all of these strikes have to be considered on their own merits. So I don't want to sound unsympathetic to nurses, because the NHS has saved my health a number of times. It saved my dad's life. And I have campaigned for a pro-NHS single-issue political party in the past. So, the existence of the NHS and the importance of it is a hill I would die on. But I do question the timing of these strikes, when, as you pointed out, many people, for pretty much 2 years, we haven't had a proper health service. We still don't really have a proper health service now. It's still, GPs are still often not seeing patients face to face. I have a long-term heart condition. I can't see my cardiologist face to face. People are still suffering from a lack of care, and I do question whether this is the right time to be striking and putting people through yet more delays, yet more waits, because
the thing is,
Sarah, that they would be critical.
I can hear nurses who would want to take action. I can hear them saying, "If not now, when?" There's never a good time for nurses to take strike action, is what they might argue.
That's a good point. But I think that two things. First of all, we're all in the same boat. We're all suffering from the cost of living crisis. There are, again, I don't want to sound unsympathetic, but the figures that you've quoted there for the starting salary of £27,000, I don't think that's a poor amount of money. I have never earned that, anywhere near that, in my life. And if you said to me, "I'm going to guarantee you an income of £27,000 tomorrow," I would be extremely happy.
Then why don't you do that? Okay, I really hate these arguments. This idea, oh, look at these nurses, they're earning so much money. I wish I could earn that much money. They have no reason to go on strike. Then why don't you become a nurse if you think the money is, they're just in it for the money? Now, obviously, when I said that she's misrepresenting, or seems to be misrepresenting this is not about just pay. This is about pay and conditions. There aren't enough staff available. The existing staff are overworked. They're burnt out. It's not just about money. There's a cost of living crisis. Now, once again, this argument, well, it's so much money, they should be happy. Then why is Sarah here complaining about her salary? Why doesn't she become a nurse then? Why is she saying, oh, well, this is wonderful money. Why are they complaining? I wish I had that much money. Then become a nurse. Train and become a nurse. No, she won't do that. She prefers to sit on the sidelines and complain. Now, another aspect is they're going on strike because they have a union. If they didn't have a union, they probably wouldn't be able to go on strike. If they went on strike, they'd be fired. This is their last resort. Staff do not want to go on strike. It's not good for them. It's not good for their career. It's not good for their pay. In many cases, they either take a cut, or they're limited on the amount of days they can take off for strikes. They don't want to go on strike. They want to work. They want to provide care for people that's part of their job. People become nurses because they want to help people. Most people do not want to do it for the money. The money is not all that great. £27,000, and look at the hours they work. Look at the conditions they have to deal with. Taking abuse from members of the public. Members of the public are stressed. They're been waiting for hours, maybe days, to get treatment, to get seen to have an appointment. They're waiting weeks for appointments. They're agitated. And who do they direct their anger at? The first first people they meet in the hospital, generally the nursing staff or the other medical staff. So £27,000 to get abused, to be worked to the bone, is not a lot of money. Now, once again, if Sarah here thinks it's a lot, then why doesn't she become a nurse? But as I said, it's not just about the pay, it's also about the conditions. And, kudos to Nick Ferrari when he said, well, when is a good time to strike? Because it's always, well, now is not the time. Oh, don't do it in winter. Don't do it now. Don't do it. The nursing staff in particular are worn out. They're facing a winter crisis. Every year there's a crisis. Why? Because there isn't sufficient funding, because there isn't sufficient recruitment. And now with Brexit, a lot of the staff that used to work in the NHS have gone. And they're not being replaced. It's very difficult to replace them with the new immigration system. And it's difficult to train up new staff because there isn't funding available. And who wants to work in an environment where you're going to receive abuse, where you're going to be overworked and in a sense underpaid? And you're going to have right-wing journalists. I don't know about Sarah here, she's a right-wing journalist, but she's speaking like one. But this is the sort of arguments that they make about how, well, you have it easy, or you're earning too much money, or what about other people? It's very important to take away from this, and this is something I really want people to take away from this entire debate or argument or discussion. When somebody says, well, I'm worse off, that's not an argument to make the nurses worse off. That's an argument for you to join a union, for you to lift yourself up in a sense, not to pull other people down. If you're not earning enough and you're working in a supermarket or working for a newspaper or whatever, the argument is not we need to make the nurses or doctors or teachers or train drivers or whatever poorer. The argument should be we should make everyone wealthier. We should give people more money, not create this divide. This is why I believe it's client journalism. It's not a really legitimate argument that she's trying to present. It's about creating division. It's about saying, look, the nurses are now the enemy of the week or the enemy of the month. So that you don't focus on the people who are making huge amounts of money. These private companies who are involved in the NHS, who are skimming off the top. The politicians who are handing them contracts. This is the real problem. This is where the real money is going. Not on a bonus or a Christmas bonus for a nurse or a slight increase in their salary. That's not where the problem lies. The problem lies much higher up the scale. But the client journalism doesn't want you to see that because they're operating on behalf of the government. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think about all of this. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.